know that I wanted all of that. I think I just wanted recognition. I wanted someone to say, wow, you're good. And, you know, I get that. I get that in my own way, and I get it on my own level, and I'm finally okay with it. I really, really, really am. And it feels good. It feels good to do a podcast that probably only a few hundred people listen to, because I'm glad it's not the big, huge deal, because then you feel the pressure of having to make sure that it's always great and it's always produced and you know, sponsored by, you know, those stupid, what are those called? Snackbox or whatever that shit is. Like, I don't want that. I don't want sponsorship. I don't want someone dictating, you know, what I get to talk about and the quality of the content of what I talk about. I talk about it wherever the fuck I want to talk about, because it's my life, it's my show, it's my I'm paying for it, you know. And it's just like, where are we in society where we feel like in order to be validated, we have to be liked by thousands upon thousands of people that agree with us? It's just so ridiculous. And so I was watching Project Runway, and there's just tears, because everyone's using the term throwing someone under the bus. It's like someone's always throwing someone under the bus. But we throw each other under the bus every day. All of us do it. We all do it. Even if we don't say it aloud or say it in a group, we're always hoping that it's someone else's fault. You know, like, because even at this new job that I just cannot stand, I have a boss who's all about perfection. And last week, she made me feel like I needed to stop making this error over and over. And because now that I stress over it, I do it even more. And it wasn't until yesterday that I said, I will not show up to a job every day scared to make mistakes anymore. I've done that. You know, and it's like we've become this world where we're mistakeless. Well, the fact is, we're humans, and we were born into an error. You know, when I think about my life, my life, I was given life into a world that was a mistake. You know, my mom got pregnant when she was crazy young. She wasn't married, and she didn't want to marry my father. She had no desire to. She didn't like him. She didn't even love him. She just had sex with him. And he tried to love my mom and wanted to marry her and do the right thing. But my mom, she didn't want that. That's not what she wanted. And in that time, in the 60s, 69, like, you know, it was still a taboo to be a single parent by choice, even if not by choice. It was a single. So I came into this world a mistake. I'm going to leave it making mistakes. But I'll be damned if I go to work every day feeling like I can't make them because I'm going to lose my job. I can't live that way. It's not what it's about. Life isn't about that. Because one day I'm going to go into a doctor's office and they're going to tell me that I have an amount of time to live. And I'm going to stress and freak and cry and be disturbed and sleepless nights and not going to eat, do all these things, wishing that I could have spent moments before that just living my life carefree. Because when you think about it, I mean, maybe you guys don't think about it. Maybe that's the reason why people don't value friendships and people's lives, because we don't think about it. But when you think about it, when you really, really, really think about it, we don't have a clue as to why we are on this planet. We don't know. And every day we try to satisfy a selfish purpose, something that's inside of us that wants to appease ourselves and make us happy. That's what we do. We wake up every day to find happiness, whether it be to get rent, whether it be get food, whether it's to drive a really nice car, purchase that nice home, go on really nice trips. But it's an effort. It's a constant effort to constantly make ourselves happy. And we don't give two fucks about why we're really here. Like, why are we here? But I do know that it isn't to be for someone to dictate how perfect you need to be, because perfection is subjective. It's who's looking, and the person who believes that they don't make mistakes themselves is pointing out how less than you are than they are, and that's a problem. But you can't walk around in that. You can't wear that cloak. You can't do it. I mean, you will want to. You will want to, but you can't. You can't wear that. You have to let them wear that. And you go in and you say, you don't say anything to them, but you say something to yourself that I am not perfect. I will continue to try to do my best, and I will continue to work hard at getting things right. But you can't be afraid to make mistakes, because you're going to. But you need to work on finding someone who has compassion when you make them. Someone who has taken self-inventory that says, I myself make lots of mistakes, but I know how to fix them, and we can fix them together, and I can show you how to fix them, because they're not the end of the world. You have to find someone with compassion. And so to me, at the end of the day, I go, well, I know this isn't where I need to be. Ultimately, this is where I am, but this is not where I strive to be long term. Well, I was at a place where I loved it. And then I got this job, and I'm like, now I'm back to where I used to be. But I don't want to be there, and I won't accept that. I'm not going to accept it. I'll be there because I have to pay rent and shit, but no. I'm not going to wear someone else's judgment of perfection, because I'm not walking in their perfection. I'm walking in my very own, And we watch these TV shows believing we have to be just as perfect as them, especially when you watch, the urban culture, like the ethnic culture with black women in particular, who have to have the best weaves and all this Malaysian hair and it's just so sad, because ultimately they're forgetting that it's not natural, it's not organic, it's something that it's all about appearance to make them believe they're better than they are. But it's not that they are better than who they are, because naturally their real hair is underneath, and it just makes them feel as if, for some reason, because they can afford this hair, and people look at it and go, oh my God, they have that nice 36-inch weave, and it makes them better than everybody else, because they know how to blend their makeup and contour their nose and shit. It's so sad. It's like this world has come to a place where it's always been surface, but it's on a surface on such a different level, It's so crazy. So, which leads into the reason why I've entitled my show Starbux or Your Child, talking about selfishness. So I'm on the train, and there's this father who gets on with this little bratty ass kid, and you already know I can't stand children, but this child in particular I could hear from the outside, and I was in my head going, please do not get on the car where I am. Please do not get on the car. Please do not get in this car. Please. Oh, damn. Here he is. And he literally sat the little bratty ass child a row away from me, which was like, there are plenty of seats on this train. Like, you couldn't pick any other seat but this one. So this little boy doesn't want to sit down. He's screaming at the top of his lungs that he doesn't want to sit there. And then, me being the homosexual that I am, I noticed the father has these really nice hairy legs, and he's wearing basketball shorts with no underwear, so I could see a penis line. So for a moment, I'm excusing the child to do what I do, doing the inventory that I do with my eyes when I see that kind of stuff. So I'm doing what I do. But it was only momentary. It was a momentary lapse, because I could still hear the child screaming and not wanting to. But the thing that got me was that he was having a hard time balancing his Starbux and his child. He didn't know which one he wanted to put down in order to handle the child correctly. And that bothered me, because I'm like, wow, you're so brand involved that you really don't know what thing to handle, the child or your Starbucks cup. Because when you think about the fact that you're probably thinking, well, maybe he just didn't want to spill it on somebody. He had no concern about the people around him because he wasn't, getting his child, correct. He wasn't trying to handle him from screaming. He wasn't trying to stop him from running up and down the steps. He wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't even talking to him in a way that would stop him from doing any of that. He was trying to pick him up, but then he was trying to make sure that he held his Starbucks cup. And I was just like, wow. And then we go to another stop, because just so you know, just understand, is the train, we had a problem with the train, so we had to get off the train at this next stop and wait for the new train. And then there's a mother allowing her child, who I would say is about 10 or 11, to play on the tracks. And she was texting. And so another man who was dressed, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up, dressed as Mario Brothers, told him in an Italian accent, and I know you guys are thinking I'm making this up, but I swear to God, I'm not making this up. He told him in an Italian accent to not play on the tracks. And the mother looks up and says, yeah, don't do that. And I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Between Starbucks and texting, this is where we are. This is where we are. Like, I mean, is Starbucks really that important to you that you can't handle your child? It's like, and I know you're missing my point. I know for a fact you're missing my point. I know for a fact you're missing my point, but I just want you to think about this for 1 second. Could it have been possible for him to put the cup down? And this is Oregon. Oregon people talk to you about anything and everything. So really all he had to do was ask a perfect stranger to just hold his cup for him. Because I've seen people do worse. Just say, hey, listen, can you just hold it? I just got to handle my kid. Just, could you please for 1 second? Or put it down. For a while, the train wasn't moving. Nobody was moving. The train wasn't moving. So he could have just put the cup down and handled the kid. But he was trying to juggle them both. But mostly he was trying to juggle the cup. And you just go, people have placed such high value on such low value items. It's like crazy, because I was talking to my friend Kim yesterday, and we both have basically, she still has her best friend, but I've lost mine, and I know we've talked about this before. But people just don't value people. They just don't value people. We don't value each other. And that's weird to me. I live in a society where we don't care for each other, because we make fun of each other behind each other's backs. Like, you'd be surprised how many times I pay attention to people on public transportation, who are like in groups or whatever, and then when one person leaves, they instantly start talking or telling that person's backstory. And you're probably thinking that's very natural. It's not. It's natural because it's common, but it's not natural to be so fucking negative about each other. It's just beyond crazy to me. And it's like when people, and this is coming from a person who used to be that guy, who used to be really negative, but because I had issues, I was treated really poorly in my life. My whole life was spent being treated pretty badly, So once I learned that my security doesn't come from other people, and it comes from well thought out and well understood current life events, I'll say, not current events, but life events, that I know where my anger and hurt comes from. I totally know where I pinpointed it. And once you pinpoint it, it no longer has to be everyone else's fault. Because when you don't know where it comes from, you point at everybody. Everybody is the reason. Every single person, strangers, friends, family, every single